Okay.
Are we live now?
It says we're live. It says you are live.
So let me refresh over here. You can talk to everybody.
No idea what's happening. We're going to see if we're live.
Give us 1 second. We're doing something a little bit new today.
We're trying to figure out.
It says we're live right there.
Oh, awesome.
So let me.
Okay. I'm logging into the Facebook.
Give us 1 second.
Woo.
I'm muting it. Sorry. Camera's not as clear as it has been, but that's all right.
That's okay. We're live over here too. Let me turn it on so I can make sure I know what the heck we're doing.
So everybody, if you're already here,
hi, welcome.
Give us 1 second. We're trying a whole new setup today. I know we do this all the time. It seems we're
gonna try something new.
But this is not just a setup. This is like most of our issues that come from a different setup, like the way we did the cameras and whatnot. Today is like a new program. We're simulcasting from one camera like professional people.
Yeah, we're trying this whole thing.
There's going to be some new things that pop up.
How?
If it works, we don't know. So we're going to see what happens
right
today.
now. I need to go share this to all my friends. Share to all your friends. Tell them to watch the show.
So we'll see what happens. We don't know how this is going to work.
No idea.
All we do know is that we hopefully won't get the cable bit in half this week and sabotage you.
Poor Sabine. I had to lock her up in her bed right now, and I feel bad because I can hear her barking.
I know, but she was like going all over the place.
Wild
For some reason, like Vader gets in here. Where's he at? He
is over there, lying down. You can't see him.
He can get under the. Vader's bigger than she is.
Yeah.
She can get under this table. He can lay down. He can do all this stuff. She walks under this table and she takes the whole tablecloth with her. It's like it sticks to her.
It's a mess.
And so she's knocking things over. So until she's fully trained, she's only been here for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
So until she's doing really good. She's a smart, dumb dog.
She's a smart dog. She's just a baby.
She's got a little something loose upstairs, I think.
You think so?
But
think she's a little special?
She's a little special. but we love her nonetheless. So.
All right. So let's talk about some movies.
Why don't you give your spiel?
Well, thank you so much for watching us. We are live right now on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Go like it. Go share it. Tell everybody you know. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. And we're going to talk about movies.
We got a plethora of things to talk about. Movies. And much like it's been, we still have not been back to the theater again because there's nothing really out there.
What's up with that?
The sad news came today came this weekend was when they announced that the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die, got moved to next year. Mm-hmm. Then Regal Cinemark is closing all their theaters. Nobody knows for sure if it's permanent.
Yikes.
Or if they're just closing because they know nothing else is coming out because everything's getting moved again.
It's possible.
So the only thing still left coming out is there's a movie called The War with Grandpa with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Which I have a copy of, so we don't have to go to the theater to see it.
I feel bad.
There is stuff out like The Infidel, which we haven't seen.
Yeah.
What we wanted to see was Jim Caviezel. There's a few other things, but it's just not every week. Since Tenet has come out, it's been the #1 movie, and it still hasn't broke 100 million domestic.
That's rough. That's really rough.
I think it's made like 300 million worldwide, but worldwide, some of the other theaters are open bigger.
Do you think if these movies would stick to their time, that people would go?
No, I think there's this mentality of fear, and I've been trying to tell people. I've been on this campaign of talking to people in relation to the theater. For the people like there's some of my students are big BTS fans. Right, the Korean K-pop thing, and they have a new movie out.
Oh, cool!
But they won't go see it because they're not. They won't go to the theater, or their parents won't let them. And I've been trying to tell people, I'm like, I think it's actually safer to go to the theater than it is to go to Walmart.
I agree.
Because of the way they set everything up. But it's that mentality of at Walmart you're walking around, and theater is sitting in a room, but people haven't grasped that it's minimum capacity. There's spaces. I didn't feel concerned at all when we were at the movie theater.
I mean, and they've been cleaning. They clean constantly. You have access to hand wipes and everything. Even the way they do the food service has changed. Yeah. So, like, it's packaged and it's put there with your name on it. No one else touches except the person that had their gloves on making your food. So,
I think what will happen.
I feel good at the theater.
If the big thing, I think the drive-ins are going to start making a comeback again.
Yes.
And if they do, I think that's where it's going to kind of save the thing. But at the same time, you never really know. I mean, once we get, once there's a vaccine out, or once we get through, or we get through the election and this miraculously goes away.
Yeah, right.
You never know what's going to happen.
Not that we're saying that.
No, I believe I've known people that have passed away from it. I've known people that have it. I've known people that have suffered from it.
Yeah.
So I don't believe it's a curse. Do I think it's been embellished and played on by the media and politicized? Of course it has.
Both sides,
but
for sure.
I think had we followed the rules, meaning the suggestions, not the rules at the beginning, we wouldn't be in the mess we are now.
Correct.
If we have leadership on any party that said, look, here's what you have to do, because my friends in other countries that are not having issues anymore, because they were forced to follow these rules.
Yeah.
Like in Singapore, they were like, you wear a mask or you get fined.
Yeah.
The end. And now they've kind of flagged
that's how like Guatemala with my family, they are still in quarantine. You can go to work. There is a mandatory curfew at 6 p.m. You have to be at home. And like no public things are like there's no churches and schools. Like everything is still shut down. It's very controlled.
Yeah.
And people do it or you go to jail.
But it's getting better because of that.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of curing it like that. But it will stop spreading it. And that's the issue I know there's still a lot of people, we won't stay on this the whole time, but I know there's a lot of people that think, oh, it's just the flu. And sure, maybe. It could be.
Maybe.
But that's not the issue with it. Yes, there's a higher survival rate. That's not the issue. Okay. It's the spread rate that's the issue.
Yes.
Not that you'll survive it.
This is the rage virus all over again.
Yeah, it's like, I think that's where that weird misconception comes from, is I know so many people that be like, why is everybody freaking out? If you get it, you'll get over it. Like, okay, that's fine. But
some people don't.
Yeah, there's some people that don't. But at the same time, it's like, but too many people are getting it at the same time. Like you get all these people when they compared it to the flu early on. And yes, I agree. It is the numbers for the flu of people dying per year were a lot more. Mm-hmm. But they weren't all at the same time.
Yeah.
They weren't in the same city, in the same place. It might have been spread out through the entire United States. Mm-hmm. And now we're at what, 200,000 plus people. I mean, 1 million people or whatever it is. I don't know what it is now. Anyway,
we don't know.
But either way, these people don't have to die. You know, some would have, but anyway, that's what it is. Whatever. Anyway, so moving on. Let's talk about why we're here.
Movies. It's better to live in movie land.
So, do you want to talk about the stuff we've seen? Do you want me to dive into some stuff I watched by myself?
Don't start with one of yours.
Okay, so I had 2 martial arts movies that I was going to say for Martial Art Movie Monday, but I've decided I want to talk about them here to get rid of them.
Okay. Get rid of them.
Yeah. One of them.
We're going to talk about them now.
Both of them I was so excited to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Right. One of them is Welcome to Sudden Death, starring Michael Jai White,
which I know you love.
I do love, and it's kind of a sequel / remake of Sudden Death that stars Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That's cool.
I think it's really more of a remake than it is a sequel, because it has nothing to do with the other film.
Yeah.
But it's the exact same film.
Oh.
So they basically modernized it. It's like the original movie is Jean-Claude Van Damme is a security guard at a hockey or at a stadium.
Yeah.
And it's during a hockey game, and he takes his kids with him, and then terrorists take over, and so it's kind of like Die Hard in a hockey arena, and it's called Sudden Death because the hockey, when it's tied, the next point win is sudden death.
Oh,
so it's kind of a play on words.
Gotcha.
And this was like at the end of the hockey game, the stadium was going to blow up and kill everybody unless a karate guy can save everybody. Kill Powers.
Well, karate guy.
So the new one, same exact story. Michael Jai White is a security guard. He takes his kids to the arena he works at as a security guard. He's in ex-special forces. They give you a little thing at the beginning, because they always are.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's a basketball game, so it just changed the sport. It's another set of terrorists. They're going to blow up the arena, and he's got to stop them. It's the exact same movie. So and this one's called Welcome to Sudden Death. So I think it probably was meant to be more of a remake than a sequel. And while I did enjoy the film, first of all, let me tell you this will be my theater experience. It was my adventure of trying to get this film.
Okay.
So I reached out to Universal, the studio that put it out. They told me that they weren't sending out screeners for it, and they weren't sending out copies for review, which sometimes is a bad thing because that means the movie's not very good, or sometimes it's just a lower budget. They're not putting a lot of behind promotions. Yeah. So they said, well, you can go to they have these press things where you can go online and watch them. I'm like, absolutely, perfectly fine. They never sent it to me. And I don't know if they thought I already had login access and just assumed I had it, but they never responded to me after that. So I said, whatever. So I said, I'll just wait for it to come out on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. This last week, I'll go buy it. So Wednesday night, I made my trip to Target. I was going to buy it. I knew it was like $12 on DVD.
Yeah.
Okay. I still got to buy it, but I have not bought it yet. I go to buy it. They didn't have it. Like, but they did have Knives Out on 4K for $12.99.
Which I got that.
Which I didn't have yet, so I went in and bought it. I don't know why. The studio didn't send it to me, and I already seen it, so I never bought it. So I decided to buy it. What just popped up on the screen? Welcome to Sudden Death. Mm-hmm. Look at our fancy new technology, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm working hard over here.
So I go to check out, and I guess a few candies. I was buying you some candies that you asked for. And so then this really nice lady in front of me paid for my stuff.
That's right. That was this time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was this movie. So she just like, I'll pay for this. And I was like, no, that's my stuff. Because I thought that she had a ton of stuff. She had a whole basket full.
They didn't see it.
So I thought the other lady, the cashier thought, and I'm like, she's like, no, I got it. I'm like, no, ma'am, it's fine. I appreciate it, but I can take care of it. She goes, no, I got it. Then I saw she was paying with an American Express card. So I'm assuming she was trying to get her points.
Maybe.
But I'm like, there's two things happen in my mind. I was like, well, I really appreciate it. And then you don't know how to thank them. You're like, I really thank you very much. I appreciate it. I said, you want me to help you out to the car? Weird. I shifted into bagger mode that I did back in the day. I'm like, do you need me to help you out to the car with your groceries? Let me do something.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened there?
It didn't work, but I put it up here. Don't worry.
Anyway,
keep talking, but
okay, sorry.
Talking.
And she's like, no, don't worry about it. Just do something for somebody else. Now in my mind, I'm like, well, crap, I wasn't looking to be nice to nobody. Now I'm required. Now I'm required to. So thankfully, I'm nice to people all the time, and I do stuff for people all the time. So it's not gonna be that hard for me to pass it on. So in the midst of all this, I turn around. And there's a Hispanic family. It's important to the statement. It's not just calling them Hispanic. There's a Hispanic family, and one of the kids is dressed as a taco in Target.
Like a full body taco.
Full body taco with his head's like this. His arms are sticking out the shell. It's like meat and lettuce in the middle.
I want a taco costume.
And I was like, and the weirdest thing is I just went, huh. And I turned back. It didn't even bother me that there's a kid dressed as a taco. And so I moved on. I leave to go outside. And I get outside. My car won't start.
Oh, that was this day.
And all this happened at the same time. This was all after I taught my Taekwondo class in the night.
Crazy.
So then I had to she was at church. I didn't want to bother her. So I called one of my black belts that's close by. Her and her husband came and rescued me, jump-started the car. And then I was telling them, in my dumbness, I didn't even think about it. But her husband, I was telling him about, I believe this lady paid for my groceries. And I saw a kid as a taco. And he was like, there's so many questions. He goes, but you think he might have just been buying a Halloween costume?
That's what I said.
Registered it was October.
I totally said that.
I was all in the moment at the time. Normally I would have caught that, but I was just like, I told him, I said, not only did it not register that it was October, it didn't even really seem to faze me that he was dressed as a taco. It was like, that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
So we moved on. So anyway, back to Welcome to Sudden Death. I finally was like, well, I guess I'm not going to watch this. Then I realized it was on Netflix the whole time.
Oh, my gosh. So tell us about the movie. It was the remake.
Yeah, so going back to Welcome to Sudden Death. Yeah, so.
Let me pop it back up on the screen.
Sorry.
For those of you just joining us after the taco car wouldn't start story.
It all connected to Welcome to Sudden Death.
Oh, Lord.
After all that's being said, I was slightly disappointed.
Oh.
There's plenty of fighting in it. The movie is not horrible. It's kind of a very 90s-esque action flick.
Yeah.
There was a little more of I think his name is Gary Clark, who's a comedian. He's in it as kind of the comedy relief, which was not necessary. And it kind of made it feel lame. If you look at the image you just put on the screen, you see that lady that's doing the jumping sidekick?
Yeah. That's
actually Michael J. White's real life wife.
Oh, cool.
So she has a cool scene in there where they fight each other.
That's cool.
She's in the fitness and martial arts with him. He's fine in the movie, and like I said, I really enjoyed the movie for what it was. But where it fell is that it felt very choreographed with the fights, and it wasn't. Bless you.
Well, it is choreographed, but
it felt it. It didn't feel like people were fighting. You know, if you're watching a fight on the screen, you want to believe that these two people are really fighting, not hey, look at those moves, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and my theory. And this, maybe it's because I love him so much, I refuse to believe that he just did bad fighting.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't bad. Right. But I think that the people he had to fight weren't good.
Maybe so.
And so he had to slow down so they could keep up with him.
Well, that's what it seemed like. Get better people.
Well, that's what it seemed like. But then I realized one of the, I think Maurice Crump, I think is his name, who is an MMA fighter, martial artist, is in the movie too. And I saw him, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, he's just going to be a good fight when they take it. And it still wasn't. So the movie as a whole was just kind of at best. But I will say this, despite what I think about it, it was a top trending movie on Netflix.
There you go. And it made the top 10.
It did, I think. And then the article that I saw pop up about it irritated me because it says Van Damme Bomb, a remake of Van Damme Bomb is hit on Netflix. I'm like, I don't think Sudden Death was a bomb. I think it was one of his later ones, but maybe it was. And I just I'm blinded to my love of it.
You love John.
But I'm gonna rewatch the other one too to make myself happy. But I'm still gonna go buy it because I need it for my collection, and I love Michael Jai White, so I will support anything he does.
There you go.
So that's that one.
All right.
Moving on.
Thank you.
You want me to tell about my other disappointment real fast?
Sure.
It doesn't have another long story connected to it.
Sure.
So this is the other martial arts film. We were giving away copies of it. It's this movie called Invincible Dragon. I'm holding it up, but she'll throw it up on the screen.
I'll throw it up on the screen.
She's gonna throw the Asian image from the Asian
it's way
promotion.
cooler.
It's
cooler looking.
It is cool looking.
Here, I'm gonna make it even bigger because it's cool.
Look at that cool imagery. It's just awesome. Watch it pop up over here.
It'll pop up in a second.
I know, but watch how it pops up. It's gonna blow up big in your face. But see, it's like here on the cover is Max Zhang.
Yes.
Who you know him as the umbrella guy from that one movie.
Which, by the way, I knew as soon as he's walking in, I'm like, this guy with the umbrella.
What is that in the Escape Plan 2? I think it was.
Yeah.
Was it 2?
I think
so. With Stallone and.
I'm like, little man with an umbrella, you better watch
but
out.
He's the guy that fought Donnie Yen in Ip Man 3, the final fight.
Yeah.
Where they fought their private thing in the thing.
And nobody
then he did the spin-off franchise where he was Master Z, that Man Legacy, got his own film. He was in Killzone 2 with Tony Jaa. You know, he's done a lot of stuff. I think he was in Pacific Rim 2. He's done a lot of stuff. He's so awesome. So I was super excited. And then he got MMA legend Anderson Silva, who I was like, dude, you got Anderson Silva, you got Max Zhang. Even if the movie's bad, there's going to be some badass fighting.
No?
So let me tell you what happened.
Really?
Again,
it
it's
looks
not
like it. Look at the picture.
I know. So let me tell you, it's not
a. Oh man, I hate when that happens.
Here's my problem with the film. First of all, Anderson Silva is not an actor, and I let that go because he's not a fighter. He's not good in the movie at all as an actor. But I'm willing to let that go because he's a fighter. He's not an actor.
Yeah, he's there to fight.
So he's there during the fight. So in my mentality of that means he's got to step his game up to deliver the fighting so you can ignore. It's kind of like early Mike Tyson when he would show up and stuff. Mike Tyson has become kind of funny and able to do some stuff. And like when he showed up in Ip Man 3, he wasn't very good acting wise in that movie. But the fight between him and Donnie Yen is exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Right. Not so much in this. It was just like, again, it felt like a very cheap choreographed fight. And maybe I'm jaded because of watching him fight Donnie Yen. You know, and Ip Man, and watching him fight Tony Jaa and Dave Bautista and all these different people that the fighting wasn't that great. Again, it wasn't bad because they're both skilled fighters. It just, when you have somebody you know can deliver this, and then you have somebody who's a real fighter that you know can do this, it's like seeing a WWE star in their action movies and the fights are horrible. It's like you know how to choreograph a fight.
Yeah, it's like, we know you can do this. Come on.
And then to make matters worse for me is it's kind of long and there's not that much action because it's more of a thriller than it is a martial arts action flick.
Are comments coming up over here? Reviews?
I'm seeing like the review links.
Cool. Thank you.
Because what happens is there's some action stuff at the beginning, you get kind of into it, and then there's a long time before anything happens again. A lot of dialogue, a lot of stuff, which is fine, but I'm like, come on, I want to see some ass whooping. So then I'm thinking, okay, they're going to build up and it's going to be this one of these 10-minute long fights at the end. When it gets to the point, it finally gets to the point, I was just like, I actually was falling asleep.
Oh, that's
bad. And I don't know if I was. Dragon. And the fight didn't make me fall asleep. It was getting there, so I was like, and I was watching it in here.
Oh, and the big.
So I had the surround sound on, and I was into it, and I was like,
that's bad.
I am gonna rewatch the fight at the end.
Yeah, maybe you were tired.
To see if I dozed off and don't realize I dozed off in some of the fight, to see if the fight at the end made up for it.
Yeah.
And then I will report back on the next show if it changes. But if you know going in that it's more of a thriller, then it might work better. I think I had bigger hopes for this movie from the trailer because the whole trailer sells it on these two fights.
I just want to see the fight.
Yeah. So
can we just skip to the fight?
That's what I want to do. Just watch the last fight of the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so a little disappointing, but again, I love Max Zhang, so I would have bought this movie either way just to support him, and I'm keeping it too. So
there you go.
It is what it is.
All right. Next, what do you want to talk about?
All right, you tell me, sister. Do you want to talk about the older movie that we watched last night?
Yes. Let's talk about this movie.
Oh, that one. That's not an older movie, but okay.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that first,
So she's gonna pop it up on the screen, but I have it right here in front of me. What's it called, dear? You tell us about it.
It's called Tomatis.
No, The Legend of
Tomatis.
And what is it about?
So basically, this Tamaris chick becomes Okay, her dad is a chief of a tribe of the Massagette. Basically, okay, so it's the story or the legend or however you want to think about it. Her dad was a chief of one of the Bedouin tribes, and so it's the whole dialogue is in old school Turkish. So you have to read the subtitles. Don't be telling me I don't want to read subtitles. So blah blah blah. Get over it. So then, get over that because this movie.
I will say though, I do want to call out studios that make these films. Sometimes is you got to make sure that you're putting the subtitles up in a way that people can keep up with it. Yeah. Because there are some ones that they
this
try to do.
This one was really good. Like it gave like they would keep talking. It gave you a long time to read.
Because I have watched movies and subtitles don't bother me, but I've watched movies where I'm like watching it and I'm missing entire scenes because I'm having to keep up with these long diatribes. And I know you can't help it from the actor's point of view, but
this was actually really interesting. So it goes through all of the tribes fighting each other, doing raids and all this. Her family is killed and she is left alone, left to survive. She joins with another tribe of the women that were known as these warrior women, which was the Sabakolaha tribe.
Yeah, because according to this, it says
it's in Turkish.
You have some message popping up. I don't know if
I have a message pop up.
Oh, I just saw it popping up about those. So I didn't know if it might have been about that show. Mm-hmm. In this one, it says they're the real life 6th century BCE Amazonians.
Yeah, so there were different tribes. Okay, we're talking, think old school Bedouin tribes. So we've got, those are the ones that traveled around the desert, in case you don't know your histories. But there's this one tribe that's just female warriors. And there's another tribe
like nomad type.
Yeah, there's another tribe that makes iron. There's another tribe that makes gold. And so
yeah, and then they were trying to take on the Persian Empire.
The Persians come along, right? And they wanted to take over the entire world.
Yeah.
And so
like 300.
Yeah, this was Cyrus. Cyrus, the Persian dude, yeah,
something like that.
Pretty much. So all the tribes band together to go fight, and this lady comes back to her home tribe, becomes the chief and the queen of her own tribe, which in this point in history didn't happen very often.
Yeah.
And which was, oh my gosh, the dog's tooting. I can feel the dog.
That was one of the things I really enjoyed about this movie. Like, this is one of those movies that seemed interesting, but I wasn't overly interested in watching it.
Yeah.
And I was like, but it has the potential of being like an epic. It's very much Braveheart.
It is.
Complete with a scene with her on the horse in front of the army, hyping them up. But it's still its own thing. It's not like stealing from Braveheart. Even if it wasn't intentional, it felt like a homage.
It was really good, though. And there was a lot of action.
There's a ton of action. But what I really liked, my favorite parts of this movie are not even the later action-heavy pieces. Mm. It's the interactions with her father when she's younger. Because there's something you always see in these tales where the father wants a son and he's coming in and he's like, please be a boy, I need to have a son, you must have had me a son. And then the mother dies at childbirth and she's like, I'm sorry I couldn't give you a son, this is your daughter, you need to love her,
like, please take care of our daughter.
But he could have easily, and a lot of times in these stories we see them like, no, and they push them away because it's not what they wanted or whatever. And in this case, it was a father not only embracing her, but he didn't not treat her like a girl.
Correct.
He treated her like a warrior queen.
Right.
And raised her
to be a warrior.
But also be sympathetic and emotional. Be like your mother.
Take care of the people.
Yeah, because he's saying, he basically was saying things like, you must be like your mother as a lady, but you need to be able to protect and defend your tribe as a warrior.
Yes.
He didn't say it like that, but so like there's moments where they're training together and like he's smacking her around and it made me think of how I train my students where
but
I smack him around.
Then
he immediately gets concerned that he thought he hurt her.
Yeah.
But then she was tricking him and then he's proud of her.
Yeah.
And so
where's my screen going to sleep? What the heck? Sorry. That was bizarre.
I don't know if it shows up on our side, but
well, it might in a minute. You might have a freeze moment. Everybody freeze.
No, it didn't show up. It just always you typing over here.
All right.
But yeah, it's that stuff. But that also builds character, and it made. I like that this is a total woman empowerment movie.
Yeah.
Without being a woman empowerment movie.
Yes.
It's not a movie trying to say strong women, strong women. Like I hate movies that do that when they try to force the message.
Right.
This was
it was just her story, what happened. Yeah. But she was awesome. Whoever this lady was. Yeah. Oh, sorry, the screen flipped on me, but that's okay. She was cool, man. She was so cool.
She was
and
really
throughout
good.
The whole thing. And then I liked how they did on her, the aging of her, because you could tell she looked older, but they didn't do a bad age makeup. It was just really good and natural.
I will say that this suffers, and I said it while we were watching it.
Oh, Lord.
It does suffer the Game of Thrones situation. There's a lot of characters that look exactly the same. So I was starting to lose track.
Gosh.
There's a husband, a son, and a friend, and I'm losing track of who's dying and who's alive. And I'm like, once they got grown, and I'm like, they all look like the same person.
It was the husband and the son go off.
I know. Don't spoil anything. I'm just
No,
saying.
and then the one that's with her is the brother. Well, it's this kid she picked up because he was a scrappy kid, and she's like, I'm going to teach you to be a warrior.
It was just funny because it was like.
And so I'm over here. I'm like, no, that's Turgan, and this is Laris or whatever his name was.
Because I looked away, and then I looked back, and I'm like, oh wait, which one is that one?
It's like, okay, yeah, all these Turkish men suddenly look alike.
So they all had the same mustache or
they
goatee,
did have little beards,
and then they'd have the same helmet or armor and the same features, and it was just.
No, but if you want a story of a badass woman, you've got to watch this.
Yeah, this is a really good movie.
It's really, really good.
We were giving copies away. The contest is now over, but if I happen to get any more, I will make sure to let you know. But Wellgo USA just put this out, so definitely check it out. It's Wellgo put out both this and Invincible Dragon, and this is the winner of the two this week. So be sure to check out The Legend of
Tometis.
I should have. This would have been better if I could have done it last week. Because if it had come out tomorrow, I could have said, check out The Legend of Tometis tomorrow.
Nah. And now that I've seen it, we should have watched it on this big
That's
screen.
what I told you. We were planning to watch it
because we didn't know it was going to be that epic.
Yeah.
It was epic. It's really, really
good. It says the battle-tested queen who inspired tales of the Amazons.
It's a little over 2 hours, and I would watch it again.
Yeah, it's almost 2.5 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's good.
Based on the incredible true story.
It is a true story.
Good. All right. Well, since we're already on the topic of powerful women.
Yes.
We unplanned watched 2 female empowerment movies.
Yeah, back to back.
Back to back. We watched 2 completely different movies. We watched movie, and then we dived into the Glorias.
The Glorias. I'm gonna throw
Gloria.
Gloria.
Not the same thing. Do you want to tell everybody about the Glorias? What is it?
This is the movie about
who's in it?
Gloria. This is the movie about Gloria Steinem. Which, if you don't know who Gloria Steinem is, do a little bit of research in history. It's got Julianne Moore, and then playing Gloria Steinem at the adult age. Then it's got Alicia Vikander, who we love.
Yeah, she's from the Tomb Raider remake. She was in
a bunch of stuff.
Ex Machina. She's the robot.
She's the robot chick.
Yeah, she's done a lot of other stuff.
And then as the kind of teenage 20-year-old Gloria. And then it's got another little girl,
Lulu Wilson?
Yes. Who we all know from that other thing.
It was one of the Annabelles or something.
Yes. And then it has a little child version of Gloria.
Which I don't know her name off.
And that's why it's called The Glorias. But it's interesting because it goes through different time periods of her life to make up the complete story.
I think there's a bigger meaning to that title, in my opinion. Tell me if you think I'm wrong.
I think it's but I think it's also the women.
Yeah, because you have Janelle Monáe, and you have Bette Midler. And then there's a Hispanic lady and an Indian lady. I don't know which one who their names are offhand.
And then there was also the Asian one fighting.
And I think the mentality of the Glorias was not just meant to be
her.
The various versions of her. It was all the powerful women that did this movement together. And again, this is another movie that it could have easily been just a simple biopic about Gloria Steinem and her growing up and to what she did.
It could have been easy followed by.
And that would have been a great movie. But they took a very interesting approach to this because it's based on her book, My Life on the Road.
Yes.
And they took an interesting approach of overlapping storylines and time periods and the Glorias where they interact with each other as kind of an idea of, I know it sounds ridiculous, but an idea of the older Gloria, the Julianne Moore Gloria, tends to show up as kind of an inner voice, child of who she's going to become and saying, hey, you need to say this right now.
Yeah.
And she doesn't say it. And she's like, why don't I say it? So there's like that little thing for the audience.
Yeah. And I feel like it's her looking back on her life and realizing like, I could have done this then, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing it now.
Yeah. And it's also, I like that even though you're getting the story of Gloria Steinem, it's really more about what she did. Yes. And what she's still doing.
Yes.
And the real Gloria Steinem's in the movie as well.
Yes, that's so good.
And not in just like a passing scene. There's a scene where she's in it and you think, oh, look, they made her as a little cameo. But then they put one of her real speeches in there.
Yeah, she comes up there, which I appreciated.
That's current which is insane. And this movie is infuriating because it goes back to what, the 60s?
Yeah.
And it's the same arguments we're having today.
It is.
It's infuriating.
It's so dumb.
And it's amazing. Like, I thought I knew a lot about her, but I realized I didn't know near as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, me either. I didn't realize
because I didn't realize how involved she was in I knew all the women's movement, but I didn't realize how much she was involved in the racial stuff too.
Yes, and that's where the interesting part of it. So throughout her journeys, you see when she's like in her 20s and something, right out of college, she goes on like this 2-year trip through India.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what really opened up her mind to all of the cultural women's issues. So we get into her time in India, and she's seeing the caste system of how the people on the bottom are treated badly, or their children are abused or raped and whatever, and nobody says anything because nobody really cares, because it's like that's the lower level people.
Well, there's a great scene too where she's on that train with all the Indian ladies.
Yes.
And the guy comes in trying to sell like beverages and snacks. And so there's the one white lady in the train, and she goes by. So the guy's trying to overcharge her because she's American.
And they're like, no.
Like, don't you overcharge her because she's American?
And give her snacks too.
And he's like, yeah, he made her give them to him. And then he's like, I was just kidding, ladies. Because they all turned on him.
Well, and and the women, they were actually really appreciative that someone would come and listen. So she goes to India. There's all this upheaval happening with the women's rights at that time. And she's like, come with us, listen. And she's like, are you sure it's okay? And they're like, yes. And at the end of that, where these women are sharing these horrible stories of what's happening to them, they're like, thank you for coming, because we didn't think anybody cared.
Yeah.
And her being an American hearing made a difference. And then later on in the story, we see that she is friends with this Native American lady. And that was interesting too, because she was invested in the rights of Native American
I didn't realize how involved she got in so many different cultures. Like, I knew there was the big women's movement and it encompassed all cultures, but I didn't realize how much like the racial stuff that she was deep into.
Yeah, because like the Native American women were fighting for the rights for their children to be able to speak their native language.
Yeah.
Which that hits home with me, because you know how many people are like, don't speak Spanish. You're in the U.S.
Yeah.
But then obviously the Black issues with women. But the other thing was the Asian ladies are like, we're being treated, even in the U.S., like sweatshop workers.
Yeah. So
she was involved in that too. So she was in everything about women. She was there.
I liked it too. There was a moment, it's a very small moment in the film, and it's her, this Hispanic lady and this Black lady. They just finished like a rally, and they're just sitting around talking. They're drinking tea or something. And then they're talking about with what they're doing and how important it is, but they're talking about how their families are pissed off at them. Like, our kids are mad at them because I'm never home.
Yeah.
But this is important for them.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see that dynamic of what they're having to give up to make a better world of tomorrow for their children, and how it's affecting them, but they're still willing to say, my kids are mad at me, but I'm willing to do this for the world, and see that it's that little moment of, it takes you away from just the rallies and the fights and the inspirations to the realism of it.
Yeah.
And it's such a small scene. It's those little scenes that really, I think, make the film work better.
The crazy thing, though, is that we're seeing all this stuff that happened then, and it's still the same issues we're dealing with now.
Repeating
about women's reproductive rights and abortion and equal pay and people of different races being treated differently. I mean, it's still the same thing, which is actually very kind of sad. But, at the final speech on the thing, she's like, okay, yeah, we're still dealing with it. She goes, but I've seen it get better.
Yeah. Well, that's what sucks, is it's better and it's still horrible.
Yeah, it's still bad.
And that's why I get infuriated, because I'm not, I have issues and I get irritated about the whole feminist movement thing. But I sometimes forget that it's not the feminist movement that irritates me. It's the people, the man-hating feminist issues.
Yeah.
And again, they're like the bad Black Lives Matter people or the bad police officers. Everybody in every movement has those people that make everybody else look bad.
There's always some.
And when you're watching this movie, it kind of brings you back, because we have one of my most trusted people is pretty feminist.
Yeah.
But she's not in your face about it. She'll correct you on certain things. She'll say certain things. She stands up for certain things. And they're all things I respect and I agree with. But I've had other people that I know that they attack you because you're a man.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
Man haters.
Yeah, and that's where that line gets bad. And but I understand it.
Yeah,
it's the same thing of the black
I get
people just attacking a white man. I get it.
Yeah.
But there's a balance we all have to find. So it's the same thing with religion. It's like, you're not going to listen to me if I force Jesus in your face.
Right.
I have to want to hear you.
Yep.
And if you force it in my face, I'm going to walk away.
Yep.
So
I agree.
But this movie had a really good balance of everything. I thought the filmography and the way they were shooting it, and the cinematography, and the way they were putting it together, how they cross promoted it goes from color to black and white.
Yeah, because it's different time periods of her life too, from when she was a child, and we get insight into her parents, and I feel like that shaped a lot of who she grew up to be, because we find out like her mother was a writer way back in the day, but had to write under a man's name because no one would have taken her stuff. And even her as a writer in her 20s are like, hey, you write like a man. And she's like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
You know, so
I like that there's one scene that's in the trailer that when she talks about the guy's like, well, you don't want to be one of those feminist writer, whatever, something.
I remember
crazy
lady.
Yeah, and then she goes to walk out of the office, she stops, she goes, I just realized something. She goes, I am one of those crazy ladies. And walks out, and the guy's face is like, shit.
Yeah, she's out.
Anyway, it's a great movie. I really dug it.
Glorias, really good. You need to watch it. It's very important.
Yeah, it's available now on digital, but it's also available on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it right now. And I highly suggest you do.
There you go.
It's not only important for her that her story is told, it's important for what's going on in life right now.
I agree.
Moving on.
What's next on our agenda, kind sir?
Can we talk about Jiang Ziya?
Yeah, tell us about Jiang Ziya.
All right, that one I can go kind of quick. Jiang Ziya, and I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
We're didn't do the best. We're sorry.
I need to pull something up, and I need to make sure I'm telling you the right. Give me 1 second here.
Jiang Ziya.
Yeah, let me make sure.
It's Jiang.
It's Jiang Ziya.
Okay, I'm just making sure we're both saying the right thing. Okay?
All right, so this is a movie I've been actually eager to see for a long time. It was supposed to come out earlier this year, and COVID got it bumped because it was a China release. Of course. And it got bumped. It got bumped early because where all this stuff started in China.
Oh,
so China pulled the release. I'd already gotten information about its release. I had gotten information that was fixing it, I think in February, and so they got bumped. So it's an animated feature, but it's actually part of what's called the Fengshen Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
And what it is this studio created this little world. It's based on some actual legends and things like that, like kind of like the Monkey King and all that kind of stuff. So do you remember me telling you about the movie Nezha?
Yes, I remember
the kid
Nezha.
That's a demon and all that stuff.
Well, he thinks he has to become one.
Well, he
wants to be good.
Well, he's meant to be this evil demon,
but he
wants to be
good. Yeah.
This is the same universe.
Oh, okay. So, now we have to watch both of them.
But here's what's interesting is I knew that it said from the creators of Nezha.
And the imagery looks the same.
It's similar and the different at the same time.
I'm looking at it right now.
But
it's interesting.
And I knew it was part of this Fengshen cinematic universe, but you watch the entire movie, there's no connection. And I'm like, interesting. Until the after credit scene. The entire cast of Nezha shows up.
That's so
And it becomes this whole thing you realize, because I totally forgot, I watched it in here, it was epic and it was beautiful.
That's so cool.
And I'm watching it and all of a sudden I was like, it tells you on there, says, please wait, there's more.
Oh, so I love it.
And it does it like 4 times. There's different things that pop up.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to watch this.
And there's a third movie.
Did you watch it in the big screen here?
Yes. I want to wait for you to see it till I get the Blu-ray and the 4K. But I do have Nezha. But I had to watch a digital screener, which it looked beautiful, but it wasn't as crisp. Yeah. I'm hoping I get a 4K of this one because it looks. But it's a great story. It's martial arts-ish, but it's more fantasy. There's like these guys that are gods, and this one guy, Jiang Ziya, he's obsessed with this serpent, 9-tailed fox demon thing, and he keeps having these things, and he can't ever beat it, so he gets exiled to Earth until he can get let go of, and they won't let him back in there. So there's another guy that comes down with him too, who's another god, and so he's trying to fight it, and then this young girl shows up, and she's looking for her father, and they kind of get intertwined in this journey, and it all connects back to the 9-tailed demons, and there's a lot of this supernatural magical creatures and characters, and this beautiful imagery and magic and fighting, and it was a really, really, really good movie. I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's what
and it's this beautiful world that you could do so many stories and do simple connections. Because at the very, very, very last after credit scene, it just shows like some kind of, this is a spoiler, but it's not really showing anything.
Spoiler alert.
It shows like this ocean. It shows like this big ship coming.
I need a thing that says spoiler alert.
No, it's not really a spoiler. It just shows like this big ship, right, in water like the ocean.
Yes.
And then it has the Asian writing up there, and then it just says, I think it was Deep Blue Sea or Deep Sea or something, and it said coming soon. So it's like, there's the third chapter coming.
Okay, cool.
But it doesn't show anything what it's about other than the ocean. So it was interesting, and the interesting little connection at the very end, and it was kind of silly. So this movie doesn't play up as, Nizza has some silly moments while still being dark and rich and whatever. This one didn't have the silly moments until it interacted with that film.
I see.
So, but it's very bright and vibrant, and
it looks cool.
It's really cool to watch, and it's a great great movie. And it's Well Go USA. They put out, if you don't know who Well Go USA is, they put out all the badass Asian stuff.
All Asian stuff. It's awesome.
And it's funny as I sent the email in of the review in, and the lady came back. She goes, send me a mail back. She goes, oh, I'm so glad you liked it. She goes, I agree, it is a beautiful film, but I'm biased. She's from Well Go. So
this is her comment. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Ja Rule, hold on. You know what now? Because I can show your comment on the screen. This is a comment from my friend Sean. Ja Rule sounds like a really interesting movie. No, it's Jiang
Ziya.
Yeah, and I spelled it wrong, I'm sure. I'm sorry.
I would watch a Ja Rule movie. Anyway, it's available on digital and in limited release in theaters. So if you can check it out, that one you should probably see on the big screen. And you don't have to watch Nizza to watch this film.
Okay.
But you won't get the reference at the end if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
So Nizza is actually available on Blu-ray and DVD already.
Yeah. So check it. Check. Might check 1, 2. All right. Next, we got so many things to talk about today. You want to just go here?
Let's just do those two. We'll skip this one for now. We can talk about it next week.
Okay.
So you want to do that one?
Yeah.
All right.
Be interesting.
So this one, I don't know her thoughts on this movie yet. We didn't discuss it.
No. Did you have a thing about it?
Yeah, it's up on the Blu-rays up there. You have to go to the Blu-ray section because it's only been bumped out. It's been out for a couple weeks.
This is just so much work.
A few weeks ago, they actually released.
I can hear the dog barking.
That's okay. He'll be fine. She'll be fine. But my wife had never done this. We talked about it on the show. We gave away copies of this as well. We're talking about Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket. It's one of my favorite war movies. It's got so many iconic phrases and scenes.
I've learned so much just by watching this movie that
yeah,
I was like, oh my gosh, it's from that movie.
Yeah, so
I didn't know.
She had never seen it. I didn't prepare her of what, other than that it was a war movie and told in 2 parts. So she didn't know anything we were walking into.
No.
So for the first time ever, she has now seen it. We watched it together with no commentary about it.
Yes.
I would like to know your thoughts on the classic Full Metal Jacket.
This is a classic, and I missed it somehow.
Well, because you didn't watch movies like this.
Okay, I didn't. And honestly, I didn't ever watch war movies until just a couple of years ago with you, because I've always avoided it because I was just like, oh, it's gonna be so depressing.
Yeah.
This movie's cray.
It's hard to watch sometimes.
It is, but you know what? It's actually interesting in that I feel like it gives a full depiction of what war really is and everything that goes into it. And it's crazy because it's Vietnam, so I think that's like the craziest of everything. Just knowing that was happening here with Vietnam. Like there's so much emotion and turmoil and everything. And my 2 uncles were in Vietnam.
Yeah, and then it makes you start thinking what they did and what they went through and who they dealt with.
My grandma says that one of my uncles came back not okay.
Yeah, but a lot of them did.
But she thinks he was actually like bewitched by some girl. My family believes in witchcraft and evilness.
He probably got hit with Agent Orange and it made him all.
Well, they did. Yeah, so they actually had to.
That's what happened to most of them.
But then even so, like my other uncle, the older one, like even now he's had surgeries and have to go to the VA for procedures and all these other things, and it just didn't always end well. So. Well,
one of the things I've always loved about this movie, and I saw this movie probably too young when it came out.
Yeah, I know.
I saw this movie when I was pretty young. It came out, what year did I tell you? 1980?
It's a long time ago. I don't know. It's just too much.
I think I wrote it on the review.
87.
1987. And I was born in 74. And I remember seeing this pretty young. And the whole bathroom scene with Gomer Pyle kind of messed my brain up for a brief time. But
yeah, fat body.
Yeah, fat body. Which we used to call. This is rude, but we used to call my son that.
Yeah, fat
It
body.
became a joke. Somebody called him that. I think his football coach called him that one time because he was acting like a jerk. He deserved it. And he was like, "Stop acting like a fat body and get over here and do your work." And then it became a joke in the house. And even my son would be like, he would shake his belly at you and go, "Look at my fat body." But
not knowing.
And now I didn't realize that my son is a fan of this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found out when he saw that I was giving away copies of this. He sent me a message. He goes, "How do I enter your contest?" Because they know I just won't give them stuff.
No, even the kids have to enter the contest.
I'm a jerk like that.
Go to the website, HollywoodMatrimony.com.
I said, "You don't know anything about this movie." He goes, "I love Full Metal Jacket."
Really?
I said, "When the hell did you see Full Metal?" Because I've never showed it to him because I'm a bad father.
No, you're a good father.
But I like that it's told in two parts. You get the boot camp section, which is actually harder to watch than the war section.
I think so. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was going to tell you. It's rough.
But it's
and Fat Body was not all there
Vincent
mentally.
D'Onofrio?
Yeah, I think he was maybe mentally delayed.
That's the Kingpin from Daredevil.
Yeah, I know who Vincent D'Onofrio. I think he was mentally delayed and then pushed.
He was on the spectrum.
Thing. Yeah,
he was totally on the spectrum.
And then pushed into this.
Well, it was all the draft
environment.
Stuff. So
I know.
He was probably
That's not okay.
Well, he was probably just slow enough to not actually be diagnosed as retardation.
Back then, I don't think people even.
Well, I know they didn't have the spectrum, but I'm saying he probably wasn't slow enough to be like
I know, but that's
to
really,
having mental retardation. He was just a slow person.
But that was really unfair to do to people like that. So
you would have thought at the entry level that they would have been like,
like he's not.
But I don't think they cared when they were drafting people and bringing people in.
I mean,
and at the same time, it might have been something they thought would help him, not knowing what they're going into. You know.
I mean, but it was not okay because he did not come out okay.
So how did you feel about Arlie Erby?
Which one's he?
He's the drill sergeant.
He was mean. Here's the thing:
he's one of the most beloved Marines of all time. After this, because he actually started making fun of himself in movies and became funny, but everybody knows him from this.
I know, but I'm thinking, I hope that boot camp is not like that anymore because there are some pretty serious racial things.
Oh yeah.
So sexual discrimination things. I mean, there is some like hardcore.
I was going to tell you during while we watched it or when we finished by the second show. It's funny how he got cast because he was a real life Marine.
Oh.
And he had done some movies before, and he most of his career was him playing drill sergeants, police officers, whatever. Yeah. He was actually up to play J. Jonah Jameson for Spider-Man.
Oh, he would have been good.
J.K. Simmons got him, and he's passed away now. But what's funny is he was hired for this movie to be a consultant for the military boot camp scenes, and he was so good in it they gave him the part instead.
I mean, he does most of his dialogue
is improv.
Yeah, because it's what they would have said.
Yeah, and it's probably stuff he either said to somebody or they said to him.
Yeah, my favorite is like, "What's in this beep 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 Foot Locker?" He's like, "It's a jelly donut." He's like, "A jelly donut." So that part got me, but it's sad.
There's so much of it that you laugh at, but then you realize how cruel it really is.
It really is sad. And then I think the racial stereotypes and everything of the people in Vietnam, it reminds me a little bit to the stupid people that are saying it's the China virus.
Yeah.
I feel like the people get punished for a war that's not of their own making.
Yep.
Because both sides of whatever war it is, innocent people, civilians suffer.
Yeah.
Because these few people want to go to war. So that to me, and the whole Vietnam thing, like I said, it's a personal connection.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Well, and then
it was sad.
And then that whole sequence, and I've seen it in other movies too, but this was the first time I'd ever seen the sequence with this, like the soap and the towels and beating somebody. I've seen it in another movie where they put locks in a towel and beat them batteries and socks, and it's always that bothers me more than actually somebody just getting beat up. No, the sad part was that his friend held him down. Well, he hit him too, but he had to because everybody in the barrack had to do it so that nobody could be the innocent. I know, but then but it bothered him. Yeah, too. The shot of him lying in bed trying to hold himself, not crying because he hears the other guy cry, covering his ears. I mean, that to me is like, oh my God, that's Matthew Modine. Devastating. Okay, well now I'm going back to my mom might have been right that it was okay. I didn't join the army. I wanted to join the army and my mom wouldn't let me because I was too little. Yes, and I would get hurt. But you know what? After hearing all the horror stories of women being raped and mistreated and all this other, even men now being raped and all this crap that's happening in space. Murdered and yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad. And Well,
anyway, sorry, that's a random
you
tangent.
You get into the war, and then there's a lot of stuff in the war, and you see it kind of makes the soldiers come off bad on some level, because a lot of them, how they're dealing with the prostitutes and how they treat the enemy.
Oh, okay. Well, that part though is famous.
Well, I'm not even talking about the me so horny part, because that's actually True Life Crew made that scene even more famous. But I'm talking about, like, there's that later one where they're discussing and how she doesn't want to have sex with the black guy because he's big, and then the one guy does it, Daniel Baldwin from Firefly. He doesn't want to go before the black guy or after the black guy. Which,
I mean, there's so much racism in this thing.
But then there's like, don't worry, I'll go fast. It's just shoving them around. And
they were treating people like meat, and that's what I'm saying. So even there's this one scene where the sniper, they get the sniper down, and they're just like willing to let the person just lay there and suffer from their wounds.
Well, because they looked at them as animals.
I know, but that's why I'm telling you.
They were the enemy, and they were bred. I'm not saying it's okay, but they were bred to treat them that way.
I know.
So we'll move on from this movie, because you could talk about this movie for a long time.
It was a good movie. I can understand. I feel like a lot of stuff came from this movie. Other things have come from it, so I get it. And the me so horny and all that. We love you long time. Now I understand where it came from. I thought it was that song.
Yeah, no.
That's the only thing I know.
What can I get for $10?
Anything you want.
Anything?
Anything.
And I love that she just keeps walking back and forth. And it's not even sexy. She's just like...
It's like she has an itch.
Yeah, she looks like she might have the jock itch.
Yeah, I'm like,
anyway.
I probably wouldn't do that.
Full Metal Jacket, the 4K edition is out now. If you've never seen it, it's a movie that you probably should watch. I think it's one of those modern classics it's an iconic film that you should see, but it is a hard watch. I'm not going to lie.
It is. But it's good. It was good, so thank you for making me watch it, because it is probably iconic, and I needed to.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to this one. Go back up.
Are we doing that?
Yeah.
We're skipping that? That one.
Yeah, I'm going to skip that one.
Okay. All right.
This will be the last
one more.
So the last one.
This I am excited.
Was another one I was excited for, because it was directed by Darren Lynn Bousman.
I don't know who that is.
I'm going to tell you.
Oh.
I have met and interviewed him. He at one of the Texas Frightmare weekends. He is one of the directors from the Saw franchise. He did Saw, I believe, 2 through 4. And he did the new one that got delayed with Chris Rock. He came back to the franchise for Spiral, but now we gotta wait till next year. But he's also done a lot of other stuff. He did the one I told you about, Saint Agatha, I think it was, which I was telling you about, when it was like the nuns and they were trying to figure out like this evil spirits, and it's been years. So I interviewed him for that one. It has some really crazy stuff. Anyway, this was a new movie he directed. It stars Maggie Q and Luke Hemsworth.
Maggie Q.
It's Luke, right?
Yes.
Luke Hemsworth.
The
lesser known Hemsworth.
He's a Hemsworth though, so it counts.
And would you like to tell everybody what it's about?
So this movie, Maggie Q and Luke Hemsworth go on a little trip to
my favorite place in the world,
Thailand. While in Thailand, they're like...
I'm wearing a Thailand shirt.
Yes. And it's their last night. They're like, let's go out, have a great dinner, blah, blah, blah. So they're chugging, they're drinking, and they give them the special drink with an extra shot of something.
So what's funny is the movie opens like The Hangover.
Yeah.
Where they wake up, they don't have any idea of last night. And so they, after investigating, they watch a video. And in the video, what occurs?
We see they're like doing public things.
Sex. They're doing the sex
in public, but then it turns a little violent, and he chokes her out.
He kills her,
and then
buries her.
Digs a hole, buries her.
Yet they are watching the video
together. And so then she's like, "Oh my gosh, stay away from me! What the heck did you do?" Of course, because you're like freaking out. And she goes to the bathroom. But he has
no idea what he did.
She goes to the bathroom and she does one of these things, and you see the marks on her neck.
And they're both dirty and covered in like dirt and stuff.
And blood and whatever.
And he's freaking out too because he has no idea what's going on.
None of them have any recollection of this happening. So let me just tell you right now. When someone wants to give you the special drink with an extra shot of something that you don't know what it is,
else anyway.
Don't do it. Don't be drinking in foreign countries like that. I'm just telling you. That's just bad news to be.
I don't take drinks from other people.
Well, I wouldn't either. If they got roofie.
I mean, clearly I've been trying to get roofied for years, but nobody will do it. So
anyhow, so the whole movie is they're investigating, or she's investigating.
Phantom investigators. Sorry.
She's investigating her own death, which is why it's called Death of Me.
Yeah, and she starts to believe that he doesn't really understand what's going on, so they're kind of working together.
Yeah, they are. They're trying to retrace their steps. Where did they go? How did they end up there? She goes to the doctor and be like, I think I'm dead. And he's like, whatever.
Like, you're very much alive. But I love that sequence because they don't give you subtitles in the movie.
No.
So you're experiencing their thing of not understanding these people that don't speak English. So they're speaking Thai, and they don't know what they're saying. You have no idea what they're saying.
So when she asks, and the lady tells her something very short after a long paragraph, I'm like, that is not what he said. Like, you feel suspicious. Because you're like, that's how it would feel. That does how it feels. Yeah. It's how it feels.
She can hold angry at me and look at me like I did something.
I mean, we've been in these countries, in these situations, and you're like,
yeah,
like, what did they say? And I'm like, that's not what they said. They talked for 5 minutes, and you're telling me one line. That is not what they said. So,
and yet, sometimes it is.
Sometimes it really is. But, man, this movie had me, like, freaking out because somehow, in the midst of all this, we're during the time of a weird Day of the Dead festival or something, and they've got these creepy masks on.
There's like witchcraft and there's demonic stuff.
Yeah,
and all
there's
kinds
people
of weird
with
stuff.
their mouths sewn shut and their eyes sewn shut.
And you don't know what's real and what's not real.
Yeah, you don't know because at certain times, like, she disappears again, and then she disappears again, and then he disappears, and he disappears,
and then things happen. People do things that you don't know, or they just having a weird hallucination. But then you realize it happened.
And then I'm starting to think, are they still tripping from this, whatever they get?
Yeah, and then none of this ever happened, so then you got to wait to see how it all unfolds.
Oh, my gosh.
So what did you think of the movie as a whole?
I loved it.
I did
and
too.
I
really
loved that it's shot in Thailand. I love that it's in Thai and without the subtitles a lot of the times. And I like that it is what would happen if you got roofied and you're lost. Because it's, you know what?
Here's what would happen if you're roofied and lost. Next.
No, but you know what? This could easily happen because at some point their luggage is taken. Yeah. And then their passports are missing. Then their cameras
and there's even a part where early in the film, like almost the beginning, when they're trying to get to the airport and the car's going a different direction, and she's like, no, we have to go this way. He's not taking us to the right place. Mm-hmm. And the guy, again, speaking Thai, no, you go this way, you go this way. And she's like, he's not taking us where we're supposed to be going. And it's because, and I've experienced that because I've gone to Thailand 3 different times, and it's funny is I figured out where I was supposed to go after the first trip.
Yes.
And when I went by myself the second time, because the first time I went, it was with your company had things, so you had a car pick me up, so it was trustworthy.
Yes, that was easy. I sent you a car from the hotel.
Yeah. When I went the second time, I was not at a fancy hotel. I was staying.
You were going into the city.
I was in the deep city of Bangkok. I was staying at the Muay Thai school
where they did not speak English.
And and nobody spoke English. I had to get a cab. And then I had to get to a certain place I wanted to go. Then I had to get like a tuk-tuk, and then I had to do this.
And then the motorcycle taxis.
But thankfully, I started recognizing the environment because the guy.
You're very good at that.
I realized
your ninja skills are strong, Boo.
I realized once we were almost there that he did not know where we were going.
Mm. Well,
he wasn't going to tell me
because it's at a back alley.
That's not an alley. That's the street.
It's a street, but you go all the way down the main street and you turn right here, and it's right there.
Yeah, and
like I remember it now.
I started remembering the street signs and
you're like,
things. And he was like, and this is something that's important, I think, for anybody if you travel anywhere that they don't speak the same language, is pay attention to the person driving, because you can tell when they don't know what they're doing or something shady's happening because they start looking around. And so I'm watching him because I don't trust anybody anyway.
No.
I'm watching him and I'm starting to see where he keeps looking at his little map and he's looking around. And I realized this guy has no idea where we're going. And so the Muay Thai school had told me the first time I went, anytime you want to get to school, just tell them boxing gym, and say the master taught his name or whatever. And most of the time, somebody will know a vicinity of where it's at. Mm. And
you got to the vicinity.
So I told the guy, I said, no, you go over here, boxing. And he's like, Muay Thai. I said, yes. And then I see him go for, I say, stop. And he stopped. I said, down here. He goes, oh, I said, no, I'll go. Yeah. So I got out, I paid him, and I could, because I knew I just needed to take a couple of turns.
Down here.
So I walked probably half a mile to go where I was going.
Well, that one street to go down, it's far.
Yeah, and it's kind of like this.
Because when we went the second time or the third time, by the time I went, you're like, we could walk it. But you're like, it's kind of far. It was far. Like
she was like, she goes, sure, let's do it. And I'm like,
No,
Okay.
we got the motorcycle taxis.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, but yeah, it's I could see that happening, and so when that was happening, and she's talking about thing, I was having flashbacks. I'm like, oh god, not this again.
But this was
But nobody
crazier.
did any supernatural things to me that I'm aware of.
No, well, not that you know. They sheened you and you didn't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
There's a curse.
Maybe that's how they messed up my sinuses.
I don't know, man. But this movie got
I can breathe today.
because that's good. There was so much happening, and there's a lot of twists and turns in this movie, but I really enjoyed it.
I did too. I dug it.
It was cool. There was some creepy.
And
things
I don't
too.
remember. You have to. It's been a while since we watched it now, but
yeah.
Was there really a resolution, or did it kind of just leave it? It's kind of a resolution, right?
Kind of. I think
but not really.
I think that she has to stay there.
I know, but there's a resolution, but it's kind of left hanging too. But in a way that there is no resolution.
Right. Okay. But I mean, you're left to believe that she has to be there. I mean, is that a spoiler alert?
Just move on.
Here.
All right,
spoiler alert.
So anyway,
she has
Death of Me is available now on, I believe, on digital on demand or whatever. I believe again in limited release theaters. So if you like those kind of creepy, crazy movies, or just want to support Darren Lynn Bousman, because you should, because I love the guy. Or you
like Maggie Q.
Who cares about them? Support Darren Lynn Bousman.
Or you want to.
He also directed Rico the Genetic Opera.
Oh, that's why I know.
Yeah, so he's funny. He's the one that I talked to at Texas Frightmare. And I was getting autographs for myself and for my daughter as a director. And I had to tell him the story about Mackenzie, my daughter. She freaked out because, again, I'm not a good father, so I let her watch horror films.
She loves Saw.
She loves SpongeBob, Tinkerbell, and horror films.
Pretty much.
So
that's our kid.
And some people, SpongeBob is a horror film. So, but anyway, so in Saw 2, there's a sequence where they throw people down into this pool full of syringes, and then people getting hit with a board or a bat or something with nails in it.
Yeah.
So we would watch a film like that. She'd freak out. Then we'd watch the behind the scenes, so I could show her how they made it.
Yeah,
so she could understand.
Wouldn't be upset.
So I was slightly responsible. She was so mad when she realized that almost every one of those syringes had a
retractable.
No, it wasn't a retractable. It was like a fiberglass rubber.
Oh yeah, it was just rubbery
thing. It's basically like, remember those things that used to at your grandma's house or whatever, had the big
the lighted things.
Yeah, and and you could touch them or whatever. It was basically those sticking out the end of it. So when you fall on it, they just bend over.
Yeah.
Right. And she found that out. She was so mad. And then when she found out that the nails were rubber, I've never seen her so mad. So when I met Darren Lynn Bousman, I told him the story of my daughter.
Got her, man.
And I said, she was so mad at you for years. And he goes, what? He goes, so he signed something on her autograph, like, sorry about the needles or something, or whatever funny thing. So he was a really great guy. And then, like I said, I've interviewed him. There is an interview on our interview page with him for, I believe, St. Agatha.
There you go.
Anyway,
check it out.
Dead to Me is in theaters. The other thing I want to tell you really quick, I'm not going to review this. I'm just going to tell you. I did reviews, like a quick, this is a hard sets to review because there's a lot of them. I don't remember if we talked about them last week or not, or even mentioned them.
We mentioned them.
But these two sets, there's actually 4 sets, but I did reviews on these two for the Blumhouse of Horrors and the Illumination collection. This has all the Despicable Me movies and the Lorax and the Grinch and Secret Life of Pets and whatnot. This has like Get Out and Split and Truth or Dare and Ouija and some all that kind of stuff. So these just hit the stalls, and then we're actually giving away. I'm going to segue right into the giveaways.
Go ahead.
We're actually giving away 2 of the sets. The Focus Features set and the DreamWorks set. DreamWorks features Shrek and Spirit, Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, and so on. Focus Features has Atonement, Lost in Translation, On the Basis of Sex, which is, isn't that a Ginsberg movie?
Ginsberg.
Harriet, and a bunch of other ones as well. So we are giving away these on our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
So if you go on there.
The link.
Also, as giveaways, another one I was going to talk about today, but I did not.
I did not.
Or did I talk about this last week?
I think you did.
I don't remember if I did or not, but Sea Level and Sea Level 2 Magic Arch. I don't think I did. I think I watched this week. It's a little animated feature, a double feature, because Sea Level 2 just came out. So this one's a double feature. It's okay. It's a little cheesy. It's when you watch something like Finding Nemo, the art to this one isn't as good, but it is good. It's a good little family feature, and it's got message. And what's cool about them is you can watch either one of these films and they don't connect. They're really just the sea world. So they could do a ton of movies and make them the sea level thing and just be different characters under the ocean.
There you go.
But we're giving away a copy of this, Sea Level 1 and 2 on double feature. And we're giving away this copy of this movie called Broil, which I believe we'll talk about next week.
That just looks creepy on the back, man.
Yeah, so I or us will talk about this next week. And we're giving away a copy of Cutthroat City, which we've talked about on the show. It was our first movie back to the big screen theater when it came out again from Well Go USA. And lastly, which is not up yet.
Okay. What?
Are you ready for this?
Dun, 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 dun.
I will be posting a contest this week. We will be giving away the 4K version of 300.
Oh, wow. That must look awesome in 4K.
So this was going to have to be rewatched in here.
Yeah.
So if you've never seen 300 or if you have and you just think it's awesome, we're giving away this 4K version. So be ready.
There you go. Are you ready?
That's it for now.
All right. So let's see what's coming out. There is things coming out. So this week, Tuesday, there's this little movie called Spontaneous, video demand.
Oh, I have a screener for that. Is that this week? I thought it was last week.
No, it's this Tuesday.
Oh, that's awesome. So we can go ahead and still watch it.
There you go. Something called
That's the one about the people that just spontaneously explode at school.
Oh, I wanted to see that.
Yeah,
That looks fun. Okay, and they're like, oh, you might die soon.
Yeah, they're like, remember, because it's got oh, who was it?
It says it's an
Papa Paraboo, and I forget, but they were going they were like, I remember it was rough when we were in school. She's like, I don't think you had it as rough as him. She goes, yeah, we don't.
Yeah,
people are blowing
exploding. Up. Okay, that looks cool. Something else, video on demand, digital. Judith Light. Anyways, Miss White Light, the story of Lex Cordova, a young woman who counsels terminally ill clients that have trouble letting go. That's interesting.
Oh, we're going to be talking about this. I got to talk about both of them.
Okay, video on demand and digital. Something called Naughty Books. No one was prepared for the success of 50 Shades of Grey. Woman in a forward living paycheck. Who knows? Whatever. Prime Video, The Lie.
Okay, so let me tell you about this real quick.
It has a Skarsgård, so I'm in.
Well, but there's kind of a cool thing about this. Let me find it real fast. Or did I already delete it? I may have deleted it. So there's a series of movies that are coming out through Blumhouse.
Okay.
It's like Blumhouse horror thing, and it's coming to. Oh, here it is. It's called Welcome to Blumhouse.
Okay.
And it is a Halloween or October thing that they're all coming to Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Now, we already have the first 4, so we can watch them now.
Okay, cool.
But they start this week, so the first 2 is going to be... So there's going to be 8 films total released over 4 weeks of the month.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
So the first 2 will be the Black Box and Evil Eye.
Okay.
And then The Lie and Nocturne is supposed to be the 13th. So I don't know why it's on there now, but maybe it's up there wrong. But anyway, so if you have Amazon Prime, these movies are going to show up on there as part of it, and it'll be 2 a week.
That sounds
so.
Cool.
These are those are the first 4. If you go to our website, on the front page, there's a little thing that says Amazon debuts trailer for the films. You can see there's a single poster that shows all 4 films, and then I broke it down.
Okay, yeah.
It's got every single trailer. Every single poster and synopsis for the films. So they're all different, independent, full-length features.
That's cool.
So it's kind of what they've done is something different with the anthology mentality.
That's cool. I love it.
Instead of doing one anthology with a bunch of short stories, they did a full sets of films for each new story. It's right there.
Okay, so I can share it. Thank you.
So
share it with everyone.
We'll be talking about next week in theory. I'm going to double check, but according to the thing I have, we'll be talking about Black Box and Evil Eye next week.
Okay, cool.
And then the following week will be the Lie and Nocturne.
A comment, check it out because we are horror movie fans.
Yes, so we'll be
talking. I'm all over that. Okay. Coming out Wednesday, which is weird, but okay. Netflix, something called Hubby Halloween. Adam Sandler.
Oh, that's the one, the Netflix one.
Yeah.
It looks fun.
As Adam Sandler, Kevin James.
It's all the same.
Maya Rudolph, Rob Schneider. I mean, we've got.
I showed you the trailer, didn't I?
Did you?
Yeah, with the little special guy that nobody believes him about Halloween, and then
yes, and then they all come to him for help.
Yeah,
he's the only one that knows everything about Halloween.
Yes.
Like,
it looks stupid, but I think it'll be fun.
All right, then Friday. The War with Grandpa nationwide.
We have that one. Really Honest Thief, we may be going to see in the theater. That's the new Liam Neeson movie.
Oh, I'm all in. What's this movie? Trump Card. Trump Card expose on socialism, corruption, gangsterization. Okay, we'll see. Something. The Wolf of Snow Hollow. Don't know what that's about. Failed marriage, a rebellious daughter. Who knows? Fly Like a Girl is more than just a film. It's a movement.
Is that about fly girls?
I don't think so. Limited video under from the Vine.
Who cares? Moving on.
Joe Pantoliano. That's all. Okay, so there's some good stuff. There's some random things. Go watch some movies.
Yeah, and this week on
Get some
Blu-ray and
popcorn. DVD,
we got The Tax Collector coming out.
Yes.
Which we've talked about, and there's also an interview with the star Bobby Soto on our our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
The remake of Valley Girl is coming to Blu-ray, which I don't care about that.
Some people do.
The complete first season of Picard is coming to Blu-ray and DVD.
I love me some Picard.
They're putting out a Star Trek 10 movie Stardate collection, which I'm assuming is all the regular movies. Obviously, 300, like I talked about, is coming out this week. Also, the first season of the Eli Roth's History of Horror, which we have as well to talk about. And Tales from the Hood 3 is coming out.
Wow.
I didn't realize.
I didn't know there wasn't one or two.
I knew there was one, and I just never saw two. But
who knows?
So anyway, so that's pretty much the bigger stuff this week.
All right. Well, we've gone a little bit long. Thank you so much for watching this week. Yes, thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed our new format. We're going to try to do the best we can every week.
We have comments about.
We need better lighting. We might need to refocus our camera, but that's okay.
If you have any comments about,
mine looks good over here.
That's fine. If you have comments in regards to
how we
stuff popped up and if you liked it, if you didn't like it, let us know. We'll probably ignore you, but at least we'll take it into consideration.
But we thank you.
Make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube page. Go and follow our Facebook page, our Twitter, our Instagram, all that good stuff. Do your spiel.
Thank you so much for watching us live today on Facebook and on YouTube. We love you. You're awesome. Check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. As always, don't forget to hit the contest button. That's where you want to be. Make sure you like, subscribe, everything. Facebook at Hollywood Matrimony. YouTube at Hollywood Matrimony. Twitter at Hollywood Matrimony. And Instagram at Hollywood Matter, M-A-T-R, because isn't Instagram the one that...
Twitter's the
Hollywood Matter because they limit your character count and they're dumb.
That's right.
Who knows? Go find us.
Anyway.
Thanks so much.
And I don't know what we're doing for other shows, but we have a couple of ideas, something new we may be doing. So hopefully a lot of them will be pre-recorded stuff. We'll shoot them and then post them to the
that way we don't miss anything.
Like that. So if we don't see a lot of people watching it live, then we may do some of the shows pre-recorded.
We'll catch you on the replay.
So if you want to see it live, you need to let us know, and that way we can make sure to keep it live. And if you subscribe to those channels, you'll start getting these new updates that tell you, hey, don't forget we're going live, that some of you probably got this week, thanks to whatever this thing is she's doing over here. I have no idea.
Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you next week.
Peace and love, children.